Hi, my name is Becca. I'm a part-time reseller. I have been selling for a little while and just started doing it more often. And I thought it would be fun to share some of my recent sales. This is February 2020. I sell on eBay and Etsy. So we'll start with some of my eBay sales. This was a book I picked up at a garage sale for a quarter. Sold it for $15 with free shipping. I sent it media mail, which cost around $2. It was in very good condition. I figured 25 cents to around 15 was a good flip. I don't pick up books a lot, but this book had good content. I knew that it was stuff that people are really into and it would probably go quickly. I had it for a little while, mostly because I was reading it and hadn't listed it. Once I did list it, it sold within about 3 days. Alright, this cabbie corduroy jacket was the next thing up. I actually sold it on best offer for $45, but when I went and looked at comparable sales and what they actually sold for, that was right on. I picked this up mainly because it was heavy. I'm new to clothes, and so I am still learning, but when I did look up comps on this particular one, it was selling well. Not all cabbie sells well, but this was a great flip. I got it at a half price, thrift store day, so I paid like $4.50 for it, and it went really quickly. Actually sold it within about 4 days. I probably could have waited a little longer, but I figured why when somebody was offering a price that was really comparable to all the other sales. And next is this Chalet art glass bowl. I recognized it right away when I was in the thrift store. Vintage glass is where I'm most comfortable. It's just the hardest to ship. This one was only 99 cents because it had a chip on the bottom, and they even gave it to me for half that. I thought it was so pretty, I didn't feel like it was fair to leave it at the thrift store and let it go to a landfill, so I figured I'd give it a chance. These bowls in really good condition usually sell for $45 and up. I put it at a heavily discounted price because of the chip, and it still sold anyway within about 5 days. Alright, these brass sconces were something I kind of took a chance on. I didn't really know much about sconces, but the pair was there at the thrift store. I'd seen it actually a few times when I had been in, and I finally got them when they were marked down half price, so I paid $4 for the pair. They did sit for a little while, about 2 months, and I took a best offer of $30 on them. But the buyer paid shipping, so basically I got most of the profit. I thought they were pretty neat. Figured somebody who was renovating a Victorian home or something like that would want something of this nature. Okay, this china set, creamer and sugar and salt and pepper, not something I normally pick up just because you have to wait for like the perfect buyer to want it. But it's not very often I see a whole set, and it was $2 for all of them at the thrift store, so I figured it was worth trying. They were listed for probably about a month and a half, and they sold for $35, the buyer paying shipping. Okay, this G.I. Joe new in box, it was from the 90s, I can't remember now when. Actually, it was something that my mom gave to me to sell. She was cleaning out closets and found it. It sold very quickly, within a day, for the full asking price and was shipped internationally. I don't see stuff like this hardly ever at my thrift stores, so I don't anticipate being able to repeat this, but it was fun to do, and I'm happy to get my mom the money for that. This is another item that came from my mom. I actually remember her wearing this when I was a kid. It's a very cool 1980s trench coat with the puff sleeves and the mauve lining and all of it. So I knew it would go, especially since the 80s are kind of in right now. I used a couple of keywords that I thought were helpful. It kind of looks like a superhero coat. Even my boys thought that it did, so I used costume and cosplay as keywords. I don't know if that was a contributing factor in its sale, but it did sell very quickly as well, within about a week for the full asking price. Okay, this Vera Bradley accordion leather wristlet also sold. It sat for a little while. I don't think Vera Bradley is super hot right now, um, but it was such a nice wallet, and I got it for $2 that I figured it was worth trying to sell. I did take a best offer of $32, but the buyer paid shipping and they left me a great review. Next are my Etsy sales. My Etsy shop is called Hinge Vintage Goods. I only opened it back in May and really only got it fully stocked within the last couple of months, but I've been enjoying selling there. They definitely have a different consumer base, so slightly different items sell well there versus on eBay, but that's kind of a fun thing to learn. Alright, this bird planter sold pretty quick. It had a ton of favorites, so I will definitely look for more bird planters. This one is signed by artist Gail Pittman. It is in perfect condition and definitely fulfills that farmhouse look, so I knew it would be something somebody would want. Sold it for $20 with the buyer paying shipping. Okay, these Irish dangle earrings, I really hurried to get up before St. Patrick's Day. They came in a jewelry box lot that I got at a garage sale for $20. It's a very large jewelry box, had probably about 40 to 50 items in it, so I didn't spend hardly anything on these. They were not silver or anything particularly high quality, but I knew that the content was something somebody would look for. It's a really common Irish symbol. It means loyalty and love and friendship. So I listed it for $10 and they sold within about 2 weeks. I probably could have listed them for more, but I was happy to send them off to somebody who would enjoy them. This vase I got for $1. It did not have any signature on the bottom, but the style reminded me of mid-century, and it had an animal on it, which always does well for me, so I went ahead and picked it up. Unfortunately, it did not photograph well, no matter what I did to photograph it, so you can't really get a good idea of the glazing on it. It has some teal and gold flecks in it, which were really cool, so I hope the buyer loves it. I did have it listed for $25, but it sat for a good 4 months and decided to include it in a 20% off sale that I had, and it sold during that sale. Right, this is a Sarah Coventry owl brooch. It has little yellow rhinestone eyes, and it's just very cute. Owls are something that is a trending search on Etsy, so I knew that it would come up in people's searches. I got this in a lot of 15 other owl pins, and it cost me about 50 cents. I listed it for $10. Probably could have listed it for a little bit higher. I was going off of comps on eBay, still learning Etsy, but it sold very quickly within about a day, and the buyer paid shipping, so it was a fun flip, it paid for the cost of the rest of my lot, so anything else I sell will just be pure profit after that. All right, next, this little porcelain clawfoot soap dish. I picked it up because I had previously sold some brass clawfoot soap dishes and they sold very quickly, and I had people asking me if I had any more, so I figured, oh, okay, this is something that people are looking for. This one sat a little bit longer than the brass ones, which is understandable. You definitely have to have a certain style in your home to want this floral, very Victorian looking item. But it still sold. It sold for $20. I paid about $1 for it at the thrift store. And finally, this quail planter. It is vintage. It's a made in Japan item. I do so well with animal planters, so I don't pass them up ever. Dogs and cats sell way better, but the birds have been selling too. I got it for $1 as well, and it sold for $20 in about 3 weeks. It did have the sticker on the bottom marking it as made in Japan and helping identify that it was vintage. So that helped too. Well, thank you for watching. I did sell some other items over the last couple of weeks, but didn't think they were as important for teaching what kind of things to look out for. I hope you enjoyed this What Sold video. See you next time.